If you could look into my mind a few decades ago, you wouldn't see a calm place. You'd see a battlefield, loud, crowded, and exhausted. When that time, I was always worried about money, about work, about things so small I can't even remember them now. I thought worry was normal. I thought it was a sign of responsibility. Only now, at 77, do I see how many years I spent fighting battles that never truly needed to be fought. Back then, I didn't call it worry. I called it being responsible. I told myself that a good man thinks ahead, plans for every outcome, and stays alert. So I stayed alert all the time. I worried about the mortgage, about my job, about whether I was falling behind people I didn't even admire. I replayed conversations in my head long after everyone else had moved on. I believed that if I stayed tense enough, nothing bad could surprise me. Worry felt like armor. It made me feel busy, prepared, important. But it was exhausting, and it never actually protected me. It only kept my mind crowded and loud, even during moments that were supposed to be calm. At some point, I started to believe that all that worrying must be leading somewhere. From the outside, my life looked fine. I had a steady job, a decent house, and people who nodded politely when they talked about me. On paper, nothing was wrong. But inside, I was always tired. My mind never rested. Even on quiet evenings, I couldn't sit still without checking something, fixing something, or thinking about what might go wrong next. I didn't feel peaceful. I felt alert. And I confused that alertness with purpose. I thought this was just what adulthood felt like. What I didn't realize was that I wasn't being careful with my life. I was bracing against it. I didn't realize how much time worry was stealing until I looked back much later. It didn't take my life all at once. It took it in small pieces. A quiet morning lost to anxious thoughts. A family dinner where my body was present but my mind was somewhere else. I was always half listening, half preparing for the next problem. Even when nothing was wrong, I acted like something must be about to go wrong. Worry followed me into moments that should have felt safe. It sat with me at the table, rode with me in the car, and kept me awake when the house was quiet. I told myself this was just how responsible people lived. But responsibility isn't the same as constant tension. One of the heaviest things I carried all those years was the weight of other people's eyes. Not anyone specific, just them. Neighbors, co-workers, strangers I barely knew. I worried about how I was perceived, whether I looked stable, capable, respectable. I chose my words carefully. I held back opinions that mattered to me because I didn't want to make waves. I bought things I didn't really like to project an image I thought I needed. I told myself this was maturity. What it really was, I see now, was fear dressed up as good behavior. I lived inside a cage built from expectations that weren't even clearly defined. It took me many years to understand this simple truth. Most people are not watching you the way you think they are. They're too busy carrying their own worries, their own doubts, their own quiet fears. I spent decades trying to protect a reputation that lived mostly in my imagination, and the cost of that protection was my freedom. When I finally began to let go, even just a little, something unexpected happened. I could breathe again. Not all at once, but enough to notice the difference. If you feel that constant pressure of being seen, judged, measured, maybe pause with me for a moment. You don't have to fix anything right now. Just notice it. I used to live in a constant state of what if. What if the economy collapsed? What if I lost my job? What if I got sick? My mind was always preparing for a storm that felt just over the horizon. I treated my life like a bunker, reinforcing the walls day after day, convinced that if I planned enough, worried enough, I could stay safe. But here's what I learned much later. When the storms did come, and they always do, they never looked like the ones I spent years rehearsing. All that worrying didn't protect me. It only kept me tense, guarded, and distant from the life happening right in front of me. For a long time, I thought worrying meant I was being careful. I thought it showed love, responsibility, foresight. But what it really did was pull me out of the present. I worried so much about tomorrow that I barely noticed today. I missed the way the light changed in the afternoon. I rushed through meals while checking the clock. I heard laughter in the background without ever fully joining it. Worry made everything feel temporary, like I was just passing through my own life. The moments I lost weren't dramatic. They were small and ordinary. And now, looking back, those ordinary moments are the only ones that truly mattered. By the time I reached my 70s, I could finally see the pattern clearly. I had survived every storm I spent years worrying about. The job changes, the money scares, the unexpected turns. Some happened, many didn't. But one thing was certain. Worry never saved me from any of them. What it did was quietly drain my energy, my health, and my capacity to enjoy what was still good. I realized I hadn't been protecting my life. I had been shrinking it. Worry ate away at my peace from the inside, day by day, without making a sound. So if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. Worry never made my life safer. It only made it smaller. It stole time I can't get back, moments I didn't fully live, and peace I thought I had to earn. Looking back now, I don't wish I had worried less about the big disasters. I wish I had worried less about the small, meaningless things that crowded my days. Life didn't need me to be constantly alert. It needed me to be present. If you're carrying worries tonight that are keeping you awake, ask yourself one simple question. Will this matter when I'm my age? If the answer is no, and most of the time it is, try letting it go, even just a little. And if this story feels familiar, you're not alone. Sometimes naming what we've been carrying is how we finally set it down and start living again.